Hey guys, welcome back to an update for the Joint Operations gameplay modification for Squad. Some people might recognise this as Black Rock Beach, because it is. I've done some reworking of grass and things like that. I've pinched some grasses from other maps, but then I've reworked it a little bit. I've redone the forest grass type as well. But that stuff's not overly important. The more important stuff is the fact that I've got perimeter circles showing, albeit sometimes, albeit they always show slightly out of scale, which is something I have to figure out yet. And unfortunately, the medics are forced to use a bandage before they can revive someone, regardless of the bleed state of that person. So that's a bit of an issue. As I was, trying to remove the bandaging from the game, because I see it as just an unnecessary overhead. It's fine for Squad. Squad's the role-playing type game. This is not going to be that thing, so, Now the deployment screen with the perimeter perimeter circles is the issue at the moment. That's basically, as far as anyone can tell, is due to the way the information for each of these icons is brought into this screen and presented. So that's a problem, but it's not a biggie, because the spawn points are always showing true as far as I can tell. So you only need to worry about the actual spawn points. I've got the scaling worked out, so there's still an error with the scaling function. I don't know what that is doing or whether it's important or not, but other than that, it's pretty much working. As you can see, there's armories at each of these bases as well. I'm going to quickly get in. I'll go to the main base. Because it's multi-faction, obviously I'm going to have vehicles from all sorts of different factions, and because the forward Western factions don't have any decent, very light vehicles like this, you get to use some of these as well. Yay! So I'm going to make the camo-ish ones, the Team 1, and the white plain coloured ones, the white ones. So it'll be Team 2. This is an armory crate. This is the ammo armory thing. This side is for the Joint Ops team. This side is for the Rebel team. You'll notice that if you go on the Rebel team, that box will light up. So there is no logistics. Disregard any of the costs in here for any of the logistics. The teams, the roles have been sorted out. So we've got multi-faction roles here. They generally go Ironsides and then Optics in their groupings within this, unless of course there's something that doesn't have more than one like this. Everything else shows up good. Again, disregard any costs. It's not part of the game. Once you spawn and take possession of a pawn in the game, the map will correctly show, except for again the scaling of the circle itself, will correctly show all of the zones how they should be shown. If they were not showing correctly in the deployment screen, they will definitely show correctly once you are spawned into the game. I'm going to quickly do a run down the coast and go past the bases. This map and Dormont Volcano Isle, which is my other map I've been doing, I have tried with the assets available to us, generally speaking, to make a map that it best copies or reimagines the original maps. The height maps I got the height maps through Nile. That's Alpha base, first forward base. There's some vehicles there, some protection, spawn point. The height maps I got through Nile, basically copy and pasting the height delta. Whoops, yeah, the height delta. Whoa, that's why some of them are a bit rough sometimes. By copying the height delta map and turning it to grayscale and producing using that as a height map. It's worked pretty well. This map was a mishmash of about I don't remember now, 8 or 10 900 by 900 screenshots. That's Bravo we're just going through. There's some vehicles there. Directly in front of us behind the sandbags is another armory for use. So the landscapes came from copy and pasting and then sticking together bits in Nile and GIMP, and then importing them. I used Terrasculpt to do some to get some output masks for my roughing out of the landscape colouring and with the texturing. That thing we've just gone past there, that bunker, I've made that. That's an object I made because there was nothing like it. I've made a lot of the easily recognisable things from join-ups, like that, and a couple of other buildings in the game as well. You notice here I have to get out of the vehicle before I can take the base. That's a squad thing for those XJO players. You can not be in a vehicle or in a gun emplacement within a vehicle and having an effect on taking the base. You must be exited. This is the well-remembered, much-loved battlefield between C and D that we all know. I'm going to go down and take Delta now. These garages I made. It's another thing that I thought I'd make. There's the vehicles in there, roughly what we used to see. There's buildings, also something I've put together. This is Delta base. Yeah, I'm going to see. So we're taking Delta now. You'll see my flag going up. I've got it on a very short cap at the moment. That's why the flag's a bit jumpy, and that's purely doing that for expediency. And I've got Delta, so now I can go off and go and get Echo. The bandaging thing, yeah, I'll get back to that. The bandaging thing, I want to remove the bandaging mechanic because it's a bit of an overhead, like I've said. Unfortunately, there used to be a switch to force the medic to have to bandage, regardless of bleed state, to have to bandage before reviving, before healing. That switch has disappeared. I don't know where that's gone now. And so at the moment, subsequently, it doesn't matter if I do anything, it's still, even if I force the player characters to stop bleeding as soon as they bleed, which I can do, it's still imposing this requirement to actually bandage the person before you can revive them. So my flag's coming down. Another thing I've added into is when this goes neutral, the base should have climbed down. The base will go neutral and lock. You can see the Echo's locked now. Below every flag, or at the base of every flag, will be the spawn point and the claim point. The claim point for these is basically a sphere about 2 meters or 2 meters in diameter. I can't remember exactly what I said at that. You must cross that sphere. You cannot be in the sphere and trigger it. You must enter it. You cannot exit it or be overlapping it. You must enter it. That forces people to have to make an effort to actually take the cap. Now I'm going to wait for this cap to go up and get back in my car. Okay, I've got Echo now. I can go off and do Foxtrot. That's another thing. Vehicles now, because as people remember from join-ups, there could be a vehicle spawner anywhere, not necessarily in a base or at main, could be all over the joint, like these ones up here. These are a different base. The vehicle cleanup mechanic in squad will destroy any vehicle that is not within the detect zone from a certain radius from a detect zone, sorry. After a certain period of time, they will self-destroy so that they're not left out in the middle of nowhere. This works good. These spawners I've changed so that if they get destroyed on the spawn point, it will block the spawn point. I'm doing that so that we don't have a problem with pardon me, with vehicles blocking a spawn point. I've now subsequently found out also that in Squad you can destroy wrecks. It's the way to clear a wreck from anywhere really, is to destroy it. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you what I mean here quickly. I'm going to blow this ute up on its spawn point, so it blocks the spawn point. It'll come up when the timer comes around. It'll come around and the top of the spawn is blocked, top left, and spawn is blocked. So to clear a block spawn, exactly the same as normally if you want to clear a wreck from in your way on the road. I reckon it's brilliant that they put this mechanic in. It's really excellent. Destroy the wreck. You have to do it with a charge or a thermite apparently, and you'll clear the spawn. And then after that time, that was quick that time, but depending on where the timer is through its cycle, you'll get a brand new fresh vehicle, and particularly a fresh vehicle that's not sitting in the middle of a burning wreck. Okay, so that's pretty much it. I'm going to go in now and claim this base. Just claimed it, and it's going to put my flag up, and I'm going to win the round. You see my flag going up. Can't think of anything else really. I think that's pretty much it. Apart from the actual bandaging mechanic, because that's a bit of a killer, that one. I really need to have that working before I can release anything. But other than that, everything seems to be working pretty well and very much playable. Because that this error is due to the this world distance to pixel distance function having something wrong with it, or having some problem with what I'm doing with it due to my perimeter circles. Don't know why that's still becoming an error, or if it even makes any difference, because everything seems to work fine. Still need some help on that. If anyone happens to know or work out why it's doing that, that'd be handy. But other than that, that's pretty much it. It's like I say, it's very playable. Apart from the bandaging side of it, very playable at this point. So yeah, let me know what you think. Cheers.